2015, John Dietrich and I went to the Rotary International Convention in Sao Paulo, and while we were there, we were roommates for a week, and it was an exciting week. But John got a bit of a cold. We went to a grocery store to buy some aspirin. And so, anybody here speak Portuguese? Nobody? So we go to the grocery store and we kind of fake our way through asking for aspirin. They don't sell any drugs in grocery stores, as we found out. But they took us to the asparagus section. So we got asparagus for John's cold. That gives you... Then the following year, I retired and I went on permanent vacation. And before I went on vacation, I thought I should take... I'd had French in high school, had French in college, and I thought I should take French to prepare for going to France. And so I found out about this thing called the Center for Accelerated Language Acquisition at MTSU, which was headed up by Shelley Thomas, our guest speaker today. She has a PhD in French literature from Purdue. Does that mean you can read French novels? Oh. She's taught at MTSU for 30 years. I've read a lot of French novels in translation, in English. She's taught at MTSU 30 years and continues to serve as a director of the Center for Accelerated Language Acquisition. Something that you need to know, and we were talking about it at the table, Stacy's not eligible yet, but if you are over such and such an age, 60 or 62, I'm not sure which, you can take classes for free at MTSU. You can audit classes for free. If you want credit, you pay half price. So who needs credit when you're over 62? But so I continued to take language classes at MTSU from Shelley, and it happened to be in her class when COVID hit. And all of a sudden, we were taking French language class on sort of a Zoom. So we were early adopters of Zoom, and I'm not ever going back. But the club can if you like. She has worked with this center, which has adopted brain-based methods for teaching language rapidly. And it's really a pretty interesting way to learn French or any other foreign language. And she has worked with teacher training of teachers around the world, Africa, I believe, is that correct? And has worked with Tennessee Department of Children's Services, the Tennessee Foreign Language Institute Web School, also the Confucius Institute on campus. In addition, now that she's retired from her regular job, she's involved with an organization called Save Soil, which is working to develop, increase awareness about the loss of soil around the world, which is a serious problem. So, Shelley Thomas, you're welcome to come up and make your presentation.
I'm bringing up a block of wood, but it will be evident soon. I'll put it over here. Thank you, Gib, for that wonderful introduction. You can sit there if you want. I can do this over you. Thank you, Roy, for inviting me. I was shocked that Roy was going to make his schedule so that he could get this little French lesson. It's rare to find people that are like Gib, that are lifelong learners and want to keep learning, after, even a foreign language after a certain age. So I was really happy to get this invitation. Let me see. I think I'm working here. Thank you all for inviting me. This is a pleasure to be here. I appreciate it. I'm sorry you're at my back. So, just curiosity, say, how many of you taken a foreign language? Good, awesome. And how many of you felt a little like that was kind of painful and uncomfortable? Yeah. So that was my experience. I was no different just because I majored in French and, have a PhD and stuff like that. It was painful. I took 7 years in high school and college, and when I went to Paris after college to be a nanny with a couple in Paris, Enrique and Noël de Raymond, I took care of their 3 little boys and heard this story. I mean, 3 little spoiled brats. Liz, Samuel, Leonard. And of course, during my stay, I went to the Sorbonne, I lived among French people, and that was basically where I got my fluency. It wasn't in the 7 years previously, and I know now from research that in America, or probably anywhere, you have to struggle through 8 years and then go abroad. And after 8 years, I mean, who wants to take 8 years of a foreign language? There's a 95% dropout rate, as you can imagine, before people hit that 8-year range. So when I learned about these new methods at a professional conference in 1998, I took a sabbatical and I got training. And what I'll expose you to today is one of the methods called TPR, Total Physical Response. I thought you'd be interested in the gentleman that invented it in the 60s. Dr. James J. Asher was in the psychology department at San Diego State, and the woman next to him is Bertie. Now, Bertie learned from Dr. Asher. Bertie taught me 20 years ago, and while I was learning about it, as Skip said, I wanted to find out what the brain research was on it. So with Dr. Jensen, I did a 3-year certification program. So because I eventually had to train other teachers in this. So once I was trained, I started using these methods in my honors classes at MTSU. Then I created a graduate course to train other teachers. And then in 2003, although this is 10 years later, every year they would take a picture of us at the honors college. I wanted to include not only MTSU students, but people from the community so they could benefit from this too. So we've been doing this, every year. And when people from the community found out about it, some of their workplaces wanted training for their staff. And one of the first workplaces, like Gibbs mentioned, was the Tennessee Center for Child Welfare. And so this woman saw me on TV and she said, it was somebody at MTSU that was in charge of the grant with the Children's Services. And she said, wow, I just saw that on TV and I want our staff to learn that way. I want to teach them Spanish. And I said, sure, tell me the language institute. I said, how many are you? And she said, 4,000. So I gave her the first young man that I trained in Spanish, and they created a job for him in Nashville. And for 6 years, he traveled around and taught Spanish for them. As Gibbs said, I've also been invited to India, China, Africa, and here's something that I think you'll get a kick out of. To let you know that it's never too late to learn a foreign language. I didn't learn about this stuff until I was 45. Then I got the training, and then at age 50, I started, training all these guys. So these are some of my graduate students and some other people that approached me and asked me to train them from all over the world. And part of my training is to add stress management. That's why you see it.
That's okay.
So we do.
We're talking now louder than she is.
So all these guys, Spanish, French, German, Arabic, Chinese, Japanese, Latin. Tamil is an ancient language like Sanskrit, Italian. So these were all the languages that were being taught. And in order for me to train these guys, I had to be the guinea pig. So I created the lesson plans and sat in their class and learned about a semester's worth of all 10 of those languages, one at a time, every year, like for 10 years. And there's a lot of dyslexia in my family. I am not, a genius. I have learning disabilities like everybody else, but you'll see in a few minutes why this is so, easy. So Tana Mai, the gal from India, is trained in classical Indian dance, and she decided to offer to create and record a a class on Indian dance, so I can tell you I was a guinea pig for that class too. And it has gentle movements for senior citizens, so you know that's up there offered too. Latest person that I trained is an American Sign Language, because the people from Nashville were overwhelmed with a lot of people that wanted to learn American Sign Language. So they came to me because they knew about my language institute, and they said, please train somebody. So I did, and it's full every semester. So that is one that is live on Zoom. Now the others, as you know, COVID hit. So a lot of my teachers went back to the country, or they're working on their PhD, or they became local teachers. So we have 4 recorded: Spanish, French, Chinese, so you're talking about Mandarin, and Tamil, and American Sign Language is live via Zoom every semester. So those, in the dance class too. So those can be, if you go to Kala at MTSU, you're going to find them. So let's jump into the lesson. Now, Roy assured me that you guys were good eggs. Everybody's on board? You're learners. Today we'll be learning in a different way that will help you remember things more easily. I'll do an action and you'll do the same thing without repeating what I'm saying. You can do the actions right there at your table, right there at your chairs. It's like Simon says. You know, Simon says stand up, Simon says sit down, very easy. As babies, we needed a 2-year silent period where we internalized the sound, grammar, and vocabulary of our native language. As adults, we have big advantages over babies. The silent period won't be 2 years. It will last just minutes. Why? Because we have a fully formed body. Remember, this is called CPR, total physical response, and we're using our whole body. So you know about body memory. It's not rocket science. So that's one thing. We have a fully formed body as opposed to babies, so it goes faster. And we have a fully formed language in our heads, unlike babies. So your brain, when it learns something new, especially a language, it kind of takes that and runs back into your brain and says, is there anything like this? And it attaches to that to kind of like save time. And because 60% of our language is from French, this is going to feel really easy to you, I think, today. Any questions about what will happen? Yeah, I mean, it's just like stand up, sit down. Yeah, so, you know, pull your chairs back a little bit. So, because you're adults, you of course want to put, you're going to be, if I say new words, you're going to be like, oh, how's that spelled? So just relax. Here are the words I'm going to use. Because French isn't spelled how it sounds. So just relax and listen how it sounded. And I'm going to use this chair right here. And let's see. Let's do this right now. So after, you know, I'll try to follow this. And then after a while, I'll mix it up. I won't do it in chronological order. And maybe even after a while, I'll sit down when I think you guys have it. Okay? So if you already know French, don't do anything first. You know, wait for other people to do it. How many have had French? Can you raise your hand? Okay, a minority. Good. Okay, awesome. Okay. La classe se lève. Remember, we don't say anything. La classe s'assied. La classe se lève. La classe marche. La classe marche. La classe s'assied. La classe marche. Good. La classe se lève.
Oh yeah, she's my
La
little.
classe danse. Now we can either dance like Chubby Checkers, or we can dance like, you know, who's this? John Travolta, good. And everybody does this in my comedy classes. Right, Gib? Yeah. Okay, la classe marche. La classe marche lentement. Lentement. Oui. La classe danse lentement. Oui, oui. La classe s'assied lentement. Oui. La classe marche. La classe marche rapidement. La classe danse. La classe danse lentement. Oui, oui, lentement. La classe se lève lentement. Oui. La classe marche rapidement. La classe s'assied lentement. Ooh, look from the picture. Bravo. Okay, is it okay if I just watch you guys? You perform for me. This will be good. Okay? La classe se lève. La classe marche. La classe danse. La classe danse lentement. Oui, lentement. Woo, got some good dancers in here. La classe s'assied lentement. Oui. La classe marche rapidement. La classe se lève rapidement. Ouh. La classe marche lentement. La classe s'assied lentement. Woohoo! Give yourself a big hand. So now you're going to point to the picture that you hear by raising the arm to the left or to the right. And of course, the turtle walks slowly and the rocket goes quickly. So we're going to use those pictures to represent the adverbs, okay? So if I said to you, lentement, everybody would just go like that, okay, to the left. And I can, I'll give the answer after I do it, okay? So my first one is lentement. I'll go like that. Oh, is this going to work? Okay. Danse. Good. Se lève. Yeah. Marche. Good. Danse. Yeah. Rapidement. Yeah. S'assied. Bravo. Yeah. Se lève. Good. S'assied. Good.
Yeah.
Lentement. I'll show you a picture and pose a question about each picture, and you simply respond with oui ou non. Oh, I can do it with this. Oh, say do that.
No, you're not down there. No.
So, I don't know if you guys can all see this, but I'm going to do it from the behind. Okay. So, s'assied, oui ou non? Oui. Marche, oui ou non?
No.
Se lève, oui ou non? Oui. Se lève. Danse, oui ou non? Non. Danse lentement ou danse rapidement? Oui. Oh, I'm sorry. Danse lentement, oui ou non? Oui. Danse lentement. Good. Okay, now I'm going to hand out. You guys seem to know what these are. Can I have a volunteer at each table who hasn't had French before? Awesome. Okay, you can just stay standing in it. Anybody volunteer to hold one? Okay. I don't want to get up too dance. Anybody volunteer to hold one? Anybody volunteer? Anybody volunteer? guys can stand, what I'm going to do is very simple. And so if you have a picture and I say danse, all you got to do is go like that and then bring it down. That's all. Okay? So if I say your picture, and I might not look at you, okay? So if I say your picture, all you do is like this. You don't have to say anything. Okay? What about this one? Danse. Awesome. What about this one? Marche. Woo, bravo. What about this one? S'assied. Yeah. What about this one? Lentement. Oui. S'assied. Uh-huh. Lentement. Lentement.
I'm the only one working here.
The brain loves the unexpected. Se lève. Oui. S'assied. Uh-huh. Se lève. Danse. S'assied. Marche. Lentement. Marche. Lentement. S'assied. Se lève. Danse. Hey, let's give you some. So this is a little, so what you do is you put it in the students' bodies first, and then you process it with games. And you can see from this tiny little activity that I'm trying to get students to hear faster. So that when they get to France, people don't sound like machine guns. That's what happened to me when I got to France. I couldn't understand anybody. Good. Okay? You did that. Did that. Yeah. See what I'm trying to. I'm going to give you choices now, like sit or stand, fast or slow, you know, and you just tell me. I'll try to get in here.
How many people letting go?
So what about this? Danse ou marche? And you guys can talk now. Danse ou marche? Danse. Wait. Oh, pardon me. Back to this one. Danse ou s'assied? I'm sorry. S'assied. S'assied. Lentement ou rapidement?
Lentement.
Se lève ou marche?
Se lève.
Marche ou danse?
Danse.
Danse ou marche?
Marche.
Rapidement ou lentement?
Rapidement.
Très bien. Ok. Danse lentement ou danse rapidement?
Danse rapidement.
Excellent. Danse lentement ou marche lentement?
Danse
Lentement. Oui. Se lève ou s'assied?
Se lève.
Se lève. Good. Marche lentement ou danse lentement?
Marche lentement.
Excellent. Se lève rapidement ou se lève lentement?
Se lève rapidement.
Oui. S'assied lentement ou se lève lentement?
S'assied lentement.
S'assied lentement. Danse rapidement ou danse lentement?
Danse lentement.
Excellent. Dudes, we just had our first conversation and you're only 10 minutes old. Give yourself a good hand. Now this is a real conversation that you would have with your mom, and she would say, you want a cookie or do you want a banana? So this is real conversation in real time, and you see the magic of your brain? It's just amazing. I will describe what is in each picture. You hold up the correct number of fingers to show the number of the picture. For example, just to make sure you understand, that guy is sitting slowly, dancing slowly. That's just walking, right? So you see how each picture is different? Okay? Now, if I say, for example, s'assied lentement, what are you going to hold up? Number one. So you're not gonna say anything yet, okay? I do wanna make sure, I wanna give people enough time to process, so I'll wait a minute, a few seconds, okay? What about this one? Lentement. Good, yeah, just number 8, lentement. What about this one? Marche lentement. Marche lentement. Good, walk slowly, marche lentement. What about this one? Se lève, je se lève. Yeah, 7, se lève. Yeah, see that guy standing up? Se lève. Yeah. The picture's a little different because I don't want your brain to just attach to that one picture. So here's another example of get up. What about this one? Se lève lentement. Yeah, 6, good. What about this one? S'assied. Yeah, s'assied. Good. What about this one? S'assied lentement. Good, I'm seeing fingers go up. Awesome. What about this one? Se lève lentement. Se lève lentement. Yeah, se lève, get up, lentement, slowly. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing lots of fingers. For you guys that have never had French before, your auditory fluency is, look, you're not even looking at any words. It's awesome. It's why? Because you have it in your body. What about this one? Lentement. Good, number 8. Se lève. Number 7. Marche. 3. So now I hear people starting to say it. So I want to go with your comfort zone. So if you feel like saying it, what about lentement? 8. S'assied. 5. Marche. 3. Se lève. 7. S'assied lentement. 1. Se lève lentement. 6. Good. Now, as Gib knows, I usually call on a mini prop. Let's see if I have time. I might just explain it here. When you are lectured to in a big room, you go away with about 5%. When you participate, you go with about 90%. When you teach another person, you go away with 95%. You guys probably know this. So what I do is, if you see something up there that you can shout out in French, you raise your hand first. Just shout it out and do this a couple times.
S'assied.
Okay, which one is it, guys? He said s'assied. 5. Another one? Anybody? Lentement. Okay, she said, which one is that? Awesome. So you see how that, so I can do that for a long time. Kids love it. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to read a sentence, and if you can translate it, and of course, one of the ways to make things brain compatible is to hit your amygdala. It takes in emotion, and you want it to be funny. So, my sentences are always funny and goofy. So I'm going to read the first one. Sonic marche rapidement. Wait. So just raise your hand and tell me if you can translate it also. Yes, sir.
There's a rocket fly quickly. Oh. No.
Sonic is actually a little guy that goes around quickly.
Sorry. There's a little guy marching around.
Yes. Does Sonic walk rapidly? Yeah. Okay, what about the second one? Jean Kelly Dance, ou s'assied? Raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Do you go and dance or sit down?
Awesome. Good, yeah. Okay, what about the third one? She marche lentement. Michael Jackson and Shakira. Michael Jackson. Raise your hand. Anybody? Yeah.
He dances slowly?
Yeah.
Or she walks slowly?
Uh-huh.
That's a little walk.
Blank, yeah, it's a little walk. Blank dances slowly. What do you think key means?
Good.
Ooh, awesome. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie dance romantiquement.
dance romantically?
Awesome,
No.
of course. Qui s'assied lentement? Jabba the Hutt? Who sung it? Raise your hand. Yeah, who?
Sit down slowly, Sonic or Jabba the Hutt.
Awesome, guys. Give yourself a big hand. So I want you to know you learned 15 vocabulary words in 15 minutes. I listened there. Look at the ones that I didn't teach you, but you got in context. Or, and, who, romantically. Your brain loves to not be spoon-fed stuff and to get stuff contextually. So here's how we learned, and here's how you learned as a baby. Listening, then speaking, then reading, and then writing funny stories. As Gib knows, I would take these vocabulary words and create funny stories, and then they would act them out, and then read them and write them, and their homework was to go home and tell the stories to their friends. So I always show people this. I had a former soldier who was in my class, and here's what he brought. Instead of a piece of paper with a signature on it, I told my story in French to my poker night guys last night. Sorry, but this was the only writing tablet we had at the time. And his poker buddies signed the back of it. Isn't that adorable? Okay, so that's it, guys. My time's up. Thank you so much.
Just a big shot.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It was having our
Thank you so
appreciation.
much.
You're welcome. And if no one has any questions, we are adjourned.